Hi there, my name is Maddie, and this is my first Flosstube video. Thank you for watching or checking in. I wanted to join the Flosstube community because I think a lot of people are probably in the same boat that I am, that there's not a lot of people in our daily lives who enjoy cross stitch. A lot of times, honestly, I've gotten to the point that I never talk about cross stitch with anybody in my friends. Like, they know I do it and they pat me on the head and like, oh, that's cute. And my coworkers, like, they're friends with me on social media, and so sometimes they'll see my updated, like, when I put a post up. But usually they'll like eventually make a joke, oh yeah, she's like an old lady, she likes to cross stitch. And I'm like, I'm not old, and it's not weird, and it's actually really fun and artistic and great. And there's a huge community out there who do Flosstube and who talk about their stitching and how much they love it and what it means to them. And so I thought, you know what, I want to do that too. I want to talk to people about my cross stitch and why I love it, and I want to hear their feedback about how I could do things differently or better, and their suggestions and their thoughts. And so here I am. So we're gonna do my first Flosstube video today. I am a relatively new stitcher. Nobody in my family stitches. Nobody in my immediate circle stitches. I actually kind of picked it up by chance. And so it's probably 2017 is when I really started looking at it and trying it. And I would say within the last year and a half, 2 years, that I've actually gotten really in depth with it. And I think a lot of that has come from watching people's videos and seeing what they're doing and the designers they like, and it just kind of opened itself up. And in the last few years, it really has grown, and I love it. And probably one of the positives, one of the very, very small positives about the last year and a half with COVID is that a lot of people are trying new things, and stitching is one of them. And so I thought, I am, I'm gonna start off kind of working from the beginning and then to where I am now and kind of what my plans are. And I do have a little bit of crocheting involved, and I'm a novice to the extreme when it comes to quilting. I've done one and it's special. It's special. And then I have one that I'm working on now that I slowly pick out. And so I'll share a little bit of that too. And I'm gonna be honest, I have another weird hobby. Or I shouldn't say they're weird. I have another unique hobby, which is building a dollhouse. And that's Bernadette. You can kind of see her tail end. I have a dog named Bernadette and a Henry, which is a cat, and they may show up. If I put her outside, she'll scratch on the door to get in, and if I put her in her crate, she might whine. So we're just letting her walk. She's gonna walk. She'll be her. And Henry's laying somewhere sleeping and being his lazy self. But what was I saying? Oh, I build a dollhouse. So the pandemic also started the hobby of building a dollhouse, and I kind of think since I can't restore an old school house, like a 1900s farmhouse, and being able to restore that would be fantastic, or Victorian, you know, one of them small mansions. I would love it. Be all about that. Not happening anytime soon. So I'll do a dollhouse, and I created one over the pandemic and finished it and actually sold it. The family wanted it and I made a profit off of it. So I picked up another one over, I don't know when I picked it up, to be honest with you. I have another one, and it's in the office, or one of the spare bedrooms, which I say is an office, and it's in there, and it's a Victorian painted lady by greenhouse, and it's going to be abandoned and run down and filled with all of the old stuff covered in cobwebs and creepy stuff, and I love it. And that's one of those long haul projects. Like, it'll be a year, maybe two, of working on that one slowly. It's just gonna take up space, but I might include that in here. And if you don't like that, I understand. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But if you are interested in dollhouses and have suggestions, because I am still very new at that too, I would love to hear them as well. Same with the quilting. Help me with the quilting. Quilting is hard. Quilting's a lot. So I'm gonna start. I have so it's all spread out down here, and so you may hear crumpling of bags and different things, and burns his toes on the tile. But I'm gonna start with where I started, which is with a heaven and earth, or earth design. Hate. Don't, if you're new and watching this because, I don't know, you're looking for information and want to get into the hobby of it, don't start there. They are full coverage. They are beautiful. They are beautiful, but they are a lot. And it's not what I would recommend, especially for an absolute novice. And I was an absolute novice when I started. I was working at a hospital during grad school, and I worked with women and young girls who had eating disorders, and so they were inpatients and they would stay for a while, and a lot of them would use their hobbies and their crafts to help cope with the change and being away from home and being in recovery, and crocheting and turned out needle art was one of the things that came about, and I appreciate that because I learned so much, and it's amazing what people, the things you can learn from people and their hidden talents. But this young lady came in with this piece of fabric, and I can't tell, and I don't remember, and I wish I had a better look at it now, but I'm pretty sure it's probably more embroidery than cross stitch, but it was beautiful, and it was deep greens and yellows and oranges, and just really vibrant and rich in its color, and I loved it. And I would work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And so once the patients were able to get to bed and everybody was okay and doing well, and my charting was done, I would either do homework, because I was in grad school and having to study, and you might have just seen Henry, or I would kind of read or look stuff up, find ways to keep myself interested and alert. And I started looking for cross stitch and like what she was doing, and there wasn't a lot. Like, there was videos out there, but it's not like it is today where Flosstube is like its own thing. And so I saw a lot of heaven and earth designs being worked on and how to start those, and I thought, well, we're gonna start there. So I ordered it, I bought the DMC floss for it, I got the Ada for it, Hobby Lobby, and I tried. I tried. And I did good. I got actually a full page cover and a third done within a year of starting it. But in that meantime, I also picked up a few kits from Hobby Lobby, and they're cute. But it's beginner. It's not what it is like I like now, what I've grown to like and I've learned about. They were a good starting point and helping me learn. And so I worked on Heaven and Earth. And this is it. It lives, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, a lot of you have these great project bags, and I'm so envious of them. And I've even tried to make them. I might try to make one actually about 3 weeks ago, at the beginning of my summer vacation, 4 weeks ago. And when it comes to sewing, quilting, those type of things, you have to get really good about like inverting stuff in your brain. You gotta do front to back, and upside down. I had to unpick twice, and when I hit the third time when I needed to undo something, I was like, I'm done for it. So I neatly packed it away and I put it on its shelf in the closet, and it's staying there, and I will pick it up hopefully in the next week or two, and we'll try again, and we'll be forgiving about my inability to sew. We're learning. It's a learning process. She's watching. But the first thing I had was my Heaven and Earth, and I thought the chart was in here, but I forgot that I actually had it on my tablet, and I've kept it. It's on a PDF on my tablet, and I've been marking it off as I go because it's so, there's a lot of symbols, and it's really confetti like heavy. Well, I did a full page, and I did a page, and I was almost to half a page, and then I realized I duplicated about 3 or 4 rows and didn't realize it. And it's because I would pick it up and put it down a lot, and then between grad school and getting into the career I am now, there's like some times where I just didn't have the time or the mental space to cross stitch back then, even sometimes now. I messed myself up, and it was devastating. So this is when I restarted, but in the reality of it, I had like from here to here, and then like down into here done on the original piece. And I tried to unpick what I did, and I couldn't. It was too thick, and it was too crazy. And it ended my love of Heaven and Earth designs. Not forever probably, but currently yes. You have to be dedicated, and when people say it's a year, it's years worth of planning or work, they really, really mean it. And you don't have a concept of time in cross stitch when you first start. Because you watch these people and they're like, oh yeah, I'll do that in 2 to 3 years. And I'm like, what are you talking about? How could you do that? we're like a good year and a half, maybe 2 years out on some of this, on my plans. And I'm like, I get it now. Oh, I was young and dumb. So young and dumb. So it sits in this beautiful bag, and it still has its thread, and I haven't given up on it, but I don't do it, and I'm sad about that. And I cut the part that I messed up, and I still have it in a drawer in my office because I can't give up, and I'm a little bitter about it. I can't give up on it. So that was my first entry into cross stitch, and then followed with a few kits from Hobby Lobby with Ada and like just the material. And a lot of it, people don't realize cross stitch is very textile, and like the feeling of the thread coming through the fabric, it can be very soothing. And the collars, it's all very a sensory kind of craft. And you have to like the fabric and the floss that you're working with, because if there's something about it that doesn't feel good, you don't want to do your project. And I've learned to be very aware of that now, and that comes with time too. So choose what you like, not what you think other people, and like do it for yourself, not what you think other people want. But that being said, the next thing that I really got into and kind of opened up my world, and I'm fortunate. Oh, people, this is what it truly opened up my world into Flosstube, and this is why I'm fortunate, is the fact that I live near Tulsa, Oklahoma. And if I time it, it's probably about 23 minutes from my home to the Silver Needle in Tulsa, which is fantastic. There is nothing more satisfying about walking into a needlework shop and just seeing all the completed projects framed and just done. Like the models, they're beautiful, and they will inspire you, and they will suck you in. And it's amazing. Like heartstring samplery, they have the eyes on the sparrow, just completely done, sitting near the entrance to the Silver Needle. And that thing it's big, but it's beautiful, and it's amazing. And as much as we watch Flosstube, the collars don't always transfer. Like I know today I don't have any lighting. YouTube, be nice. They're playing Ring around the kitchen table. I don't have the lighting system. We're starting from basics here, or from scratch. And so even through like the camera and videos, we don't see the true colors of our cross stitch, and until you see it in person, and it's amazing. And I understand why people will travel days even to go to specific cross stitch stores. I love that. And I also love seeing people when they visit a cross stitch store like the Silver Needle that I'm aware of, and seeing their responses to it. That's beautiful, and it's fun to see. It makes me want to go to all of the stores in America, like the Acorn and things like that, and have those experiences and really see what people are saying and fall in love with it the way they have. But I embrace the Silver Needle, and they kind of sucked me in and set me on my path with cross stitch. And probably one of the very first like projects I really got into beyond that, the Hobby Lobby stuff, was the Country Cottage Needleworks calendar series. There was this woman from Australia who had a Flosstube, and she no longer creates videos, or she didn't the last time I looked her up, about a year ago. But she had this entire series done, and I loved them. They were so cute the way she finished them, and I'm like, I can do that. That's small, that's reasonable. I will have gratification from seeing my work done. I can do that. And so I went, they had one or two, they ordered the rest. I currently have January through August, and I have worked on January's done, February, March, and I thought I had April done, but when I pulled these out this morning, and I'm like, and I finally said, we're gonna do that. You need to do that for your, like, do a Flosstube and put yourself out there. I realized I didn't finish April, and my intention was to get the frame and have these and use them on my desk at work. I don't have any cross stitch, anything related to cross stitch at work. And I'm like, you know what? I need to be proud of my work. You know, put it up. Let people call you weird. I am weird, but I like my hobby, so poop on you if you don't. But I realized I'm still missing the top border of this, and then there's like a rabbit that's down in here, and I haven't done that. And I was like tooting my own horn that I had these months done, and I didn't even finish that. And I still have May, June, July, and August to do, which I'm gonna work on those. That's, now that I know it and I'm kind of looking at it and touching it again, I wanna get them done. I'm not gonna frame them. I think I'm gonna just turn them into pillows because when I looked up the frame that these originally came in, it was kind of expensive and hard to find. And I'm like, I'd rather invest my money into more patterns and fabric than a frame, which I think a lot of us kind of have that battle. We have a lot of things that have been stitched but aren't fully finished, and we have to find ways of doing it that won't break the bank. And so I'm gonna make these into pillows. I'm gonna finish this one actually. Today, we're gonna finish this guy. And then we are going to make them into pillows, and we're gonna get the rest of them done. And I think next summer, I will put my effort into trying to find the rest of the months or ordering the rest of the months. The Silver Needle actually had to help me order the other ones. So thanks for them doing that way back when. So that was probably in 2018 going into 2019. And so April, what do we need tonight? And that was kind of my first one. And then it kind of took off from there. And I am a Plum Street kind of girl, and I don't intentionally do it or like draw. I'm like, it's not like that I have to have everything Plum Street. It's the fact that I look through their patterns and I'm like, oh, that's really pretty. And I guess I'm naturally drawn to their designs, I guess, because I have a lot of them. And I didn't realize it until I started pulling all my patterns. But the first big one, like not a hate, but like a big project, I would say, is Plum Street Samplers, and it's called On Prejudice. And this is the packaging. I could take it out. You're gonna have to watch me kind of fuss with the bags though if I do take it out. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, there we go, no glare. And I like this one, it's so sweet. And I think the phrase, it might catch some people off, like, oh, that's a negative phrase, but in reality, I'm a middle school counselor. I work with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. I'm a school counselor. And one of the biggest things I have in life is kiddos coming to me and they're saying, oh, so-and-so is saying all the secrets or all my business and spreading it around. And I'm like, unfortunately, you have to be careful who you trust when you give important things away, like you give important information about yourself away. And so the saying says, what's in thy mind, let no one know, nor should thy friends thy secrets show. For if thy friends should prove thy foe, then all the world thy secrets know. And I mean, we have to be really intentional and conscientious of what we tell people in the world. And I would love to have this one in my office. People would think I'm weird. My coworkers would call me weird. But I love that. I think that is a great sentiment and very truthful of the world that we live in, and trusting people and who we say and what we do. And it's pretty. It is pretty in person. I did this one on a 36 count platinum. I will tell you, I ordered off of 123 Stitch. It's before a lot of our fabrics are now hard to find. But they had platinum, and they had it on a really good sale. And so I bought a whole lot of it. So you might actually find this, you're gonna see platinum mentioned a few times, 36 count, this fabric mentioned a few times, because I got a lot of it for a good deal. And it's a good neutral for me. And I think it would work well against my walls if I do hang it up anything, actually finish it. But this is what I have done, and it's really wrinkly. I should have ironed it. It's 1/2, 1 thread over 2, like 2 sections. I like, some people like 1 thread over on a 36 count. I like 2. I have another project in this bag from this fabric that I did 2 over 2. And I kind of like it because the stitches are puffier. It's more, I don't know, I see it more, or I feel it more. It's a texture thing, and this is very airy. It feels airy when as I look at it, and it's beautiful, and it's what it's meant to be, but I don't know, personal preference, I guess. And I think that's one of the things that has kept me from finishing it, is that, one, the border is hard. Not in the hard that it's like hard to read, you just have to read it every time you start a new section, like these little flowers here. It's not an easy pattern that you can just like tuck away into your mind and continue down the line. Yeah, I constantly have to recheck the pattern, so it's one I had to have a lot of focus for. I love it. I want it done. I need to be intentional with myself and make it happen. But it is a really pretty one, and I enjoy it. I think people would enjoy it too. And it's gonna be a big sucker. probably need to save for a frame on that one. The next one is a Plum Street again. I love them. And it's called Blackberry House. Elizabeth can stitch. And if I reference anybody that's also on Flosstube, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, the name of your channel. I apologize. I love you guys. You guys are fantastic to watch. Sometimes I miss names. My brain ain't working that well sometimes. But it's Plum Street Samplers, Blackberry House. It's beautiful. I love this one. This is the one that I did 2/1 on the same fabric, 36 count. And I like that the stitches are thicker. And it just seems to stand out a little bit more on that fabric. I love it. In July, I need to come up with a new phrase other than I love it. I think we all know that we love cross stitch, if you're here. July, I did the pot, is what I call the things that I put plants in, but I don't think that's what that is. It's an urn? An urn? An urn. I did the urn. And that was kind of probably the most stitch heavy section of this pattern. There is a house that's coming up to the right of it. And then the rest of it's alphabet and like little berries and leaves, those things that are relatively quick to finish. So in the next 2 weeks, I kind of work in a 2-week like time frame. I'm going to do my best to get this one done. I would really love to see this one done, especially after seeing Elizabeth's. Hers was beautiful, and then she framed it. The frame she chose was really great, because I won't be buying the box for it. It's beautiful, but you have to have room for that stuff. I don't have enough shelves in my life. I need more shelves in my life. And so that's my second oldest one, or third oldest one, one of the oldest ones I have, and it's a good one to come back to. It's relaxing to stitch. I don't have to focus too much on it, you know. You kind of do your line of where you need to be, your outline, and then fill in, which is nice. Next, let's see here. We have the Garden Club. I love this book. I got this one last summer, and I've done a few of these, and I love that they're small enough that they're fun to stitch, but you get through them relatively quickly. The first one I did was in my garden, and it's supposed to be a drum, but I get those little sections of fabric off of 1, 2, 3 stitch that are like $5, and this was 30 count portobello is what it says. Is that what that says on the sticker? I like to keep the stickers, and so they float around sometimes in the back and they get dingy. Probably should have a better system for that. But they're relatively easy, and this one's supposed to be a drum, but I don't think I have enough fabric to do it, so I'll probably just do a pillow. Or if I can find an inexpensive frame and I can try my hand at framing myself. We need a garage sale. Maybe they'll have some more frames in garage sales. And do that. I think it'd be really pretty. I love the colors. I love that there's pops, but yet there's subtle neutrals in there. It's a beautiful, they did really good on this book. I like this book. The fabric I did, because the majority of the fabric in this book, except for that one, it asks for similar fabric all the way throughout, and I do like the idea of it being uniform. Depending on how you want to display it or finish your projects, it'd be nice that they match. They're similar to each other, and you can tell that they're related and from the same series, or book in this case. I have all the call for threads, and mostly I will do a DMC. I do DMC for a lot of my stuff. There's certain big projects that I'll do a called for, or would like to do the called for, but I do try to budget myself, because everybody's got a budget, right? I put these in a bag. The book kind of smelled, not bad. It just has a it's faded a lot, but it had a smell, and I didn't want my fabric and the floss to smell as much. Plus, so like if I do bobbin, like if I put my cross stitch on the bobbins, let me see if I can get one that actually has a bobbin on it. So like, you know, these. The dog and the cat, leave it alone. Like I can sit on the couch and I can sit in my chair or the bed and I can stitch and nobody touches it, nobody cares. As soon as I get one of these guys and it's dangling and it's free floating, it's a toy. Apparently it's an expensive toy. And so I have to be really careful about how I do that. And so that kit, since I knew it was gonna be, there's a lot of projects in there, I'm like, we're putting them in the baggies. But it is kind of fun to see how people like to organize the cross stitch and what their preference is for that. It's entertaining to me. You'll notice, you'll see these bags. Or I already told you guys that. Don't judge me for my plastic bags. I can't, yeah. I don't know. We'll learn. We'll live and learn in how to make project bags. I have a few others that came next, and of course they're Plum Street, not by intention, but more because of preference. And this one is Goody Grimwood. I'm sure people have seen it. It's cute, and I mainly got it because of the house. Like I said, I'm addicted to old houses, houses with character. I love them. This is on platinum as well, and I did one thread over two. And it's kind of like the same with Prudence, that I like it. It's just a little, it feels thin. It's a texture thing maybe. But this is what I got done so far. This one is stitch heavy. There's a lot of, you gotta fill in a lot. And you don't think it in the picture, but it's there. And I think, especially because these are some of my new first purchases when it comes to patterns, I didn't have a good perception of what, how big certain projects are. And so you get into it, and I'm like, oh, that won't take long. And you're like, oh, that's actually relatively big. That's gonna take some effort on your part. And so I have a few, like I said, that are bigger, but they're beautiful, and we will get there. We will see a finished product one day. Yes, that's your giraffe. So that's Goody Grimwood. Goody. I hope I'm saying that one right. Then I actually got a Christmas one, and I don't decorate for holidays so much. I'll have like a wreath on the door. During fall, I'll pull out some. I have like small pumpkins, but it's more just fall, and it's not necessarily Thanksgiving. I don't do much for Christmas. Some of it's storage. I don't like feeling cluttered, and I don't want to have to use my attic. And that's the only place I would really have a place to put major decorations, big decorations. I like things to be neat, and I like to use my garage and have space, and I like my closets not looking. It stresses me out. And so I don't decorate, even though I love decorated homes. I think they're beautiful. My mother, however, does a really great Christmas. Like, that's the one holiday she really decorates for, and it's Henry. He's in there. He has a box in there, and he's destroying it. He's being crazy. And Bernie's gonna go check it out. That's Bernadette and Henry, the cat and dog. They're crazy. And she's gonna hit me with her toys now. But my mom does a great Christmas. I was talking about Christmas. She does a great Christmas, and her home is beautiful. And so I got this one because I was like, I'm gonna make this for my mom. And she would love it because she loves all things Christmas. And it's Plum Street. It's Plum Street, and it's called Mary 2. Sorry, I have the bobbins in here. Oh, okay, good. That doesn't have the pattern on the back. It's a pillow. It's got little Santa and his reindeer and his sleigh. And I ended up pulling from Stash for most of the colors, so they may not be the exact call for. So we'll see how that turns out when it does happen. I bought it the year, I bought it that spring break before the pandemic hit, and we weren't allowed to go back. And I thought I'd get it done by Christmas really easy. It's small, it's cute. We can get that, we'll knock that out. And that's as far as I got, and I feel horrible because I'm like, that was from Mom. I know I got her a gift though. I know I got a great gift. And we had a great Christmas. But I didn't give her a pillow, and I feel bad. So that's on my list to do. This is gonna be done before Thanksgiving, so I know I have it for Christmas, and I think she'd appreciate that. She can sit it in one of her bowls on the tables. You know, us women in our bowls on tables. Do you mind? The next one I have is Needle Art by Marjorie Massey. Massey. We'll go with Massey. And it says, When This You See is the title of it. You have to be careful because the pattern is on the back of that one. And it's cute. It's really sweet. I love it. And it says, when this you see, remember me. And I thought that was nice. And I kind of did this is when I started venturing out with my fabric and the color choices and not just going exactly by the book on everything, which I love about cross stitch. I love the conversion charts when people pop up with those, and it's awesome. It's more work than you think, though. You don't. It's harder than you think. It's 36 count hickory by Collar and Cotton, and it's wheat. I don't want to trust my memory on that. Nope. Yeah, Collar and Cotton, hickory. Go me. And this one's Classic Colorworks Thundercloud. I love the names of collars. Like, people give collars like nail polishes and stuff. I love the names people come up with. But it's purple, which there's certain things, like, you know how people have smells or music, things like that, that just automatically put you into a specific time, like a specific memory. And mine is like this kind of purple, because I remember being like 6 or 7 and having, in the 90s, the biker shorts. Those pedal, like the biker, like their bicycle shorts, and their a matching t-shirt, and it was all purple, and every once in a while I'd be wearing it, and my mom would put in, she had a cassette with the Flying Purple People Eater, like with Ralphie and all the kids songs and stuff, and she'd put that in. So whenever I see that kind of purple, it automatically throws me back to being like in 1st grade and wearing solid purple and being a Flying Purple People Eater. I don't know. That song may have different meaning than what I think it does. So, and I'm sorry if I sniffle. Oklahoma and allergies are, it just is what it is. And on top of that, it's insanely humid outside. So this hair, I blow dried it this morning, but it's trying its hardest to do the frizziness, and I don't know what it's doing. It doesn't know what it's doing. It is what it is. We are what we are. Let's see here. Not you. This is one of my favorites, and it's one of my newer buys, and I love it. It's Hawkrun Hollow. Anything Hawkrun Hollow, the village of Hawkrun Hollow specifically. These are so beautiful, and when you see them done in person, I mean, they're breathtaking to see it all. And like to have that and that, you have to put a lot of forethought into making something like that, and she does this. They're beautiful. I love them. I did change up the collars some though, just for the fact that my house is so light, and this is one that I want. I want a wall. Like, people like, oh, what, like Brenda and all of them, they have these walls in their home just filled with cross stitch and like samplers, and they're beautiful. And I know it's taken years for them to get to that point, to have such a collection of them done and done well and like framed and finished. And I dream of having a wall like that one day. And of course that means I actually have to follow through with my plans and do them. It'll happen. We'll do it. But this is one of the ones that I think would be absolutely gorgeous, because my house is gray. It's like solid gray all the way through. So I lightened up the collar so it wouldn't be so like, it would just flow a little bit better with what I have right now. And so like the browns, I put a little bit lighter orange. I just like everything kind of got shifted up a couple of colors, like, or hues, I guess, or shades. And so if I get tech savvy and can figure all this stuff out for YouTube, I will invest in some better lighting. But right now, I did all DMC, and I'm in the 2nd box. And my plan when I originally bought it had been to do a box a month. That was reasonable. But this past school year has been really, really hectic. And it really wasn't a bad school year. It was just a lot of new stuff during the year. And I would come home and my brain would just be mushy. And so trying to concentrate and make sure I'm doing what I'm doing correctly, because I don't want to mess it up. And I know you can always unpick something and start over again, but even then I'm like, the fabric, the waist of the thread that was there, now it is gone. I'd rather do it right the first time. And so this one, it just, the plans I've had I'm not as far as long as I could and intended to be. But I love that one, and I can't wait to see it completed. And that one is one I will spend the money for a great framer on that one, because it's beautiful, and thank you for the designer for that. One I'm currently working on now, and it's actually attached to one that is already done, is called Earthly Treasures by Plum Street. There we go. And I am gonna make it into a pillow. And I love this saying on it. It says, dwell not on earthly treasures, nor covet or envy or pout. Thou enter this world and brought nothing in, and will carry with thee nothing out. And I think that is a good sentiment for where we are in the world these days. This is what I have done with it so far. And I actually started it like Sunday or Monday, and I've worked on it like an hour here and there over the last several days. And it's a fun stitch. It's a nice stitch, and it's going to be really cute if I can finish it the way they finished it. It'd be cute. On the back is Kathy Barrick's Good Intentions, and I finished this one last summer, and I was going to frame it, but I may make it into a pillow as well. Pillows seem like a good alternative right now. Yeah, I don't know, but both of those are really pretty and beautiful, and they were fun to stitch, and that's what matters, is having fun stitches. And so I think I can get that one done this week, and definitely I'm gonna put some effort into Blackberry House, and I think those two are the ones that I can most realistically, that and that April, but I'll get that done this evening. Most realistically though, get those two done and feel really good about it, getting those two done. I think those would be nice accomplishments. So I did a thing. Oh, first we'll do this though. And I don't mean it like that. I love this one too. The thing about me is I like Pride and Prejudice. I like Jane Austen. I like her subtle sassiness in her writing. And I love that she was a female writer in a time that she made a mark where many, many men and she just made her mark, and I love her for it. And I think she is very relatable to a lot of people in this world. I may even be a member of one of the Jane Austen Facebook pages. So I have no shame in that. But this one is Plum Street Sampler. And it says, a gentleman's daughter, and he is a gentleman and I am a gentleman's daughter, so far we are equal. And the saying's great. I think it's because I love this scene so much, and it's where she's standing in the garden, and she has given Darcy's aunt like a have-to for all her coming up to her house and trying to start stuff with her, and she's just like giving it back, no shame, and I love her for it. And so I've done that. I got that. I love that. I started it. I got this one over spring break, and then I started it. This is actually on platinum, 36 count platinum. It's one of the last. And I started the house. It blended in with a called for fabric. So I unpicked it and then started over again. That is I don't know. I don't know about my color choices. I don't know if I made the right decision in that. But at this point, I've already unpicked it once. I'm not doing it again. So we're gonna do it, and we're gonna love it, and we're gonna finish it. It could have been done as many other things, but when state testing rolled around, this year's state testing was hard. By the time I would get home in the evenings, my brain was so frazzled that cross-stitching wasn't going to be a feasible option, because I knew I was just going to mess it up, and then I'd be really angry with myself, and I didn't want to lose my drive for what I have, like my projects that I have. I want to continue to love them and do them. So yesterday, I've been telling myself that I am not gonna buy any more cross stitch. I'm definitely not gonna start anything until I finish. And the goal was to finish 3, start 1. Finish 3, start 1. Seems reasonable. And I have actually quite a decent amount fully kitted, and some partially kitted, and some with fabric on the way that I'm still waiting from 1, 2, 3 stitch. But yesterday I cleaned the house and I got done with some stuff that I needed to get done. Then I'm like, you wanna know what? I'm kind of bored and I really do need a pair of scissors. And I had $9 on a gift card from Christmas that I've been, like, what was left of it. I'm like, I'm gonna go get scissors. So I'm gonna go to the Silver Needle and I'm gonna get me some scissors. I go to the Silver Needle and I spend like an hour and a half there. And I did not walk out with actually scissors. You know, it's like going to the grocery store and thinking that you're brave and you're not gonna bring a grocery list, and then you come home and you realize you forgot like the main part of the dish. Maybe that's just what I do. But I got a long dog sampler and it is called Castle in the Air. I'm sure you guys have seen them, but I've been seeing so many people doing their long dog samplers and they are beautiful. Like the Pandemic sampler is beautiful, and the fabric people have chosen, the threads, all of it, they're fantastic. And I love seeing people complete them and like the pride that they have in those and how like accomplished they're feeling. And I'm like, I want that feeling too. And so I did it. I didn't just get this, the pattern, I got the fabric, which I'm like, you wanna know what, we're gonna do something a little different than what we have so far. And so I got this, and it's called Moss, and I have a small start in the corner. I worked on it last night when I got home, and it's gonna be subtle, and I see it here in person. You may not see, I see it, and it works with the fabric. I will say it's supposed to be 36 and it's called Moss, but I feel like it might be even smaller than that, like a 40 count, because it's so small. It's really tight and it's really small. It's great though. And so I'm doing 1 thread over 2, and the color I chose for my thread is Weeks Dye Works, and it's called Stone. And so it's got, let me see if I can actually hold this up here. It's got some purples in there, golds, a little bit of green in there, like not a lot, not so much that it'll clash, but it's almost like burnt umber. No, I don't know. It's pretty. It's a great color, and it's not what I typically have chosen in the past. As well, as you know, you see what I've been working on, and I'm in love with it. I want to work on it. We're gonna do some finishes, and then we're gonna definitely hit this one hard and heavy, and it will take time. This one will take time. It's kind of like the Village of Hawkburn Hollow. They take effort, but the outcome of it's so worth it. I'm in love. I'm in love. Oh, I need more time to stitch. Can we just stitch as a living? I know there's people out there that do it. I wanna be that person. I wanna do that. And you wanna know what? Maybe with Flosstube I'll feel more inclined to do those things. Alrighty, so I think now we can move on to what I have as patterns but have not actually even started and may or may not be kitted. This one and my pink one. This is what happens. I understand why you guys, like, you talk about losing your stuff when you do these videos. I get it now. It gets, I organized, but now look where we are. I'm losing my thread. Okay, so what I have, what I hope to do in the somewhat near future. So I still have more Plum Street. Yep. I can't ever, it's autumn, and people say it, I won't say it correctly, so I'm not gonna attempt, but these guys are so beautiful. The oranges in there, I love fall colors. My house isn't representative of my love of fall colors. It's very light, and it's how it looks. But I love the deep oranges and the reds and like when the trees start changing, I love that. And the lighting changes, oh, it's beautiful. Makes me so happy. The next one I have is a second homage to Jane Austen, and that is Miss Bingley's Library by Plum Street. And it says, I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library. And how truth is that? Sometimes you just really need a good book. I mean, right now I'm rereading Misery by Stephen King, and it's pretty good. Sorry, I got a notification. Ignore my fingers. So that's gonna go in there. And I got the fabric for that one. And I've got the threads for that one. The fabric, and I got the fabric for this one too. This one's actually called 36 count. Let me see. Flax for this guy right here. And that'll be really good. I think the colors of the thread will really pop on that one. The next one I have the fabric, but most of these colors I have like tied up in other projects. I know I'll have leftovers. So if I finish those, then I can do this. And this one is Addams Family. Originally, when I first saw this, I thought it was like related to the TV show and the movies Addams. And then I realized no, it's actually related to one of our founding fathers. But yet they took a twist on it too, and I love that. I'm a history buff. I'm down for that. The fabric I have, that moss is 40. I can tell because this is 40 and looking at that to this. Is 40 count mallow linen. And so, and like I said, the threads, they have their place. They're hanging out in all these bags. They just need to be recuperated. Next is by Kathy Barrick. I love Kathy Barrick too. Plum Street and Kathy Barrick kind of take their spot in my heart, I guess. And it's sunflower. One thing my dad always does every summer is plant sunflowers. He says he's going to do a garden, but mainly it's peppers and sunflowers is what he grows. And I love them. They're fun. I usually have some as well this year. The rain, we had so much heavy rain that it killed a lot of what I have in the garden. I had to replace a couple of squash plants and stuff like that, and a tomato plant too. But sunflowers are awesome, and I have fabric coming from 123 Stitch for this guy. So hopefully that'll be there, and I can get some stuff done and actually work on it. The next one is Kathy Barrick, and it's called Ruth Ellen Haystack. And these colors are beautiful. They seem muted, but I've seen this one finished, and it's subtle, but it's really, really pretty. And I love it. I think it's great. Yeah, all about it. Fabric's coming, fingers crossed. And then this one was just really fun. I love it. I kind of like Halloween just as much as I like everything else in those fall months. And this one is by Barbara Ann Designs, and it says, "When witches go riding and black cats are seen, the moon laughs and whispers 'tis near Halloween." And so that's super cute. And here's the thing, I would love to hang this one in my office for Halloween, because middle schoolers try to act all like cool about stuff, but they love decorating for holidays. Like my office aides love doing I have another co-counselor with me and behavioral health coach, and then we're like encased in a mini office. Like we have mini offices within the office. And they love decorating. It's kind of like, looks like a fishbowl because it's all like glassed in for the most part, and then we have our offices in the back half with doors and closed off and whatnot. But the kids love decorating it. And I kind of get happy about decorating it because I don't ever decorate my own house. And so it'd be fun to get those done and be able to like use them. And I think people would appreciate it. Or they'll call me weird. Because I cross stitch. You know? It is what it is. And then I have the salt boxes, this spring and summer. I think these would be really cute if you did them all together, like organized in some form or fashion on one big piece of fabric. And I've seen so many people do them, and they are gorgeous. And like the Fat Quarter Shop, when they had those, the salt boxes that are different colors but uniform, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That, I love that. And it would be really cute if you did them in different shades of gray and then had a pop of color in one. That would be really cute. I don't know. I have too many ideas. I let myself get carried away, and then I end up with way too many unfinished cross-stitch patterns in the works. But like I said, my hope is that Flosstube will help me get organized. And my dog is actually ripping up her toy right now. If you hear that sound, it's not my fabric for my floss or for my cross-stitch. It's her giraffe. Her cloth giraffe that is now no longer intact. So I'm done with this cross-stitch portion of my video. I do have two other items that I kind of want to show you, because any input people can give me about improving my quilting or my crocheting, I would love to hear. and there's not, I don't feel like there's as big a fan base for crocheting as there. Bernadette, hey, no ma'am, no thank you. Go somewhere else. Take it in the bedroom. There's not as big of a community as there is for like Flosstube when it comes to like crocheting. So currently my blanket of choice, and I don't really work on it much during the summer, or like, well, I just started it this past winter, but I don't like working on it in the summer because the idea of having a really heavy, thick blanket laying on top of you when it's 100 and some odd degrees and crazy humid outside doesn't feel good. And so I'm gonna be honest, I haven't worked on it much this summer. I do pull it out. I pulled it out for a mini road trip that we took down to Texas because I could do it there, but I didn't touch it after that. And that was like at the very beginning of June. But this is the blanket. It is a really, this is the one tail end, and the other tail end will be over here eventually. So this is what we got done. It is pretty darn long. It covers top of like a queen size bed. And it's a quick stitch and it's simple stitch, and I don't have to think about it when I do it, which is nice. This is what actually helped me get me through the last quarter of our school year and get that wrapped up, and still let me keep my hands busy so I wasn't stress eating, because you know, that ain't good for anybody. So we'll wrap that into a burrito. And then this is one section of my quilt that I'm making. So individually there's like, it's a quilt as you go, because the idea of that sounded really nice after the last one. Like, I didn't realize I would have to tape my quilt down and then put the batting in and then the backing of it. Like, there's a lot of steps to quilting, and it requires a lot of space and a lot of fabric, and quilting as you go seems more manageable right now with what my skill level is. So I quilt as I go. I have about 4 or 5 of these right now, and then I'm gonna have to do half panels to make the quilt the size that I plan for it to be. So I'll stitch all of them together. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do for the backing, where if I'm gonna order it. I know, like my grandmothers and great grandmothers, they would do sheets, old bed sheets, and so as a more cost-effective alternative to that, and I actually I did that on my first try. I had, and it worked. I don't know, with the amount of effort and time I put into this, how I want to finish it. I want it to be uniform and not, I want it to look good. I want to do it justice and be proud of my finished product. I think either way I will, but I need a plan. I need suggestions on how to make that happen. So there's a handful of these still sitting on my desk near my sewing machine. This is what we're doing so far. It's kind of haphazard. And then we'll go from there and we'll finish it. And then I'll probably, if I can figure it out, I will insert a picture of my dollhouse. And if you have any input on that as well, or suggestions or places to look for supplies for that, like the lighting and the wiring, that'd be great too. I love that. And otherwise, thank you for watching my show or my video. And thank you for watching my show. Reminds me of like Amanda Bynes or something from the 90s. Thank you for being out there. For those who do Flosstube, it helps a lot to know there are people out there that are just as quirky as I am in our love of crafts, and that we're not weird. That is perfectly normal and a wonderful hobby to have. Otherwise, have a great week, and in a couple of weeks I'll come back and we'll see where my progress is, especially on the Blackberry house, and see if I can get it done. That'd be really nice. All right, bye.